kids are just slowly draining my brain out of my body.
That'll do it.
3 girls.
Oh my God.
Hello everyone, James Odle, Alphaspeter here with Sorta My Podcast. We're here with another Tricon special interview. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Rodney Fyke. Before we get started, you can find this as well as many other things here on the Sorta My Podcast SoundCloud page or YouTube page, depending on where you're at. You can go over and find us on Facebook at Sorta My Comics or Subject to Change Entertainment. While you're there, give us a like, give us a follow, and share. Tell us what you think. You can find Rodney here at Tricon up in Huntington, West Virginia on June 2nd, and that's going to be at the Big Sandy Superstore Arena. Tickets are only going to be $10. Kids are free if they're under 10, so come on out, bring the family, and see everything they have to offer. So, Rodney, thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down with me for a little bit.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, one of the first things I really like to ask people is, what was your first comic? You know, what was the first comic you read that kind of set you on the path?
Well, let's see. The first comic that I ever actually read was probably Fantastic Four issue 188. That was circa 74, I guess, 75, sometime around there.
Mm-hmm.
I dug it, but I didn't. I mean, it stuck with me because I had like a handful of Fantastic Fours. But what really resonated with me was when I found the Avengers 174. And I was just hook, line, and sinker and just take my money every month. I just loved the Avengers, since I was about 6 years old, which is way longer than I'd like to admit.
Hey, it's always some of those first ones, they stick with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So Avengers then, what would you say some of your favorites are now compared to what you were reading when you were younger?
I love Hellboy. I still love the Avengers, although I liked it when it was just one title.
Yeah.
Now it wears me out and I actually stopped reading Uncanny X-Men for this reason. There's just too much. You can't afford to follow it, and you can't keep up with all the new characters, and too many unresolved plot lines hanging out there that never get resolved. And, life just gets too busy to keep chucking out money and not getting any answers and having to buy this book and that book to finish this story. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I completely understand. It's like you've got a tie-in issue here, a tie-in issue there. This character pops up over here, and he's important to the story, but you got to buy his mini-series so that you actually know what's going on. It's like, no, just stop.
Yeah. Give me a self-contained story that lasts maybe 3 issues, and I'm good.
Hopefully we can start getting back to some of those stories with the Marvel Fresh Start, but who am I kidding?
Yeah. It would be nice. That's a pipe dream, I think, at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately. When did you discover you wanted to be an artist, and even further on, when did you realize that you wanted to take that artistry into the comic book world?
Well, I think it was probably when I was about 12 or 13 years old. Because I used to, copy pages out of Fantagraphics and stuff like that, black and white pages, anything I could find black and white. This was back before you could, pull images off the internet or,
right.
And I would take the magazine to a copy store and copy off copies and go home and take markers and color and stuff like that. So I was about 12, 13 years old. And right about that time, I really started thinking about doing it seriously, but it wasn't until high school when I met with some friends in art class that it all really started clicking. That was the genesis of my career into comics. We got together, me and 3 other guys, 89 or 90, and we created a black and white independent superhero group called the Superior 7, and we did 5 issues of that. God, that was 90 through 93. And then we started, the artist that was doing that ended up getting picked up by somebody else, and he left, and we picked up Greg Land. I actually have 3/4 of issue 6 drawn by Greg Land that we can't use. And then another issue. I have a stack of scripts that I wrote for this book that never got drawn. And you know how it is. People move on and people move up, and your friends get married and have kids and move on, and things just fall apart. So we went from publishing comics to coloring comics. And we did that for about 7 or 8 years. Like I said, the studio broke up, and I went and got the dreaded day job. And so that was the end of Act 1. And let's see, I worked the day job for about the better part of 9 years. And then I blew out my back, and I was out of commission for a while, so I started drawing again. Now, when we were doing comics before, I was doing everything but drawing, because I was smart enough to know that let the better guys do the artwork. So I got out of practice. I didn't pick up the pencil again I drew, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't, every day like I should.
Right. So
when I was bedridden, I started drawing again. Then I met my girlfriend / fiance, Tina, and we got to talking, and I was telling her about the whole comic book thing, and she said, well, why aren't you doing it now? And, one thing led to another, and we started. It was the genesis of Puddin and Jelly. We spent probably a year going to shows, doing recon missions, and checking out how things had changed from the 90s to today. And this was like 2009 or 10. Mm-hmm. We were in Pittsburgh and went to Pittsburgh Comic-Con. We were in the car and we were talking, and that's where Puddin and Jelly was born. And been doing that ever since.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's my abbreviated history in a nutshell. I don't know. I don't remember what the question was, but that answered it. I forgot.
Yeah. It sounds like you had kind of a pretty long road leading you to where you're at with comics and everything. And it sounds like you're at the point where you wanted to be years ago as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Real quick, we are going to go ahead and take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors over at Tricon.
Okay, great.
Where is Odle at, man?
I don't know, man. He's always talking about how he needs to be out of here by a certain time. We make accommodations.
It's already 7:30.
I know.
Whoa! Guys, we had such a blast.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Did you just come out of the portal?
Yeah, I think we're skipping over that fact.
Oh, there's no time for that right now.
That was uncalled for.
Guys, Tricon.
Oh, okay. What is that? Where
is that a Comic-Con?
It is the Tri-State Comic Book Convention, June 2nd, Huntington, West Virginia, Big Sandy Superstore Arena.
Okay, well, these comic book conventions are always money pits, man. Can we really afford that?
No. This one is only $10 for admission. Kids under 10, get in free.
Wow.
Yeah.
But is it, okay, that cheap? It's got to be just like boxes of comics as far as the eye can see. Nothing really worth seeing.
No. We've got vendors, we've got artists, we've got some pretty stellar media guests.
Whoa.
There's going to be a cosplay contest. The winner just...
Who was it?
You got to be there to find out.
Well, let's get our tickets right now, then.
Come on, guys. Let's jump in the time warp.
All right, so we're back here with Rodney Fyke, in case you guys missed half of the interview that you're listening to somewhere, somehow. So, Rodney, what are some of the artists that you've always looked up to? The ones that you could kind of say that you aspire to be, almost.
Okay, well, that's kind of a two-pronged answer. In previous interviews, I've been asked, this similar question, and my response is it's all Neil Adams' fault. Because when I was reading those issues of Fantastic Four when I was 6 and 7 years old, there were ads that he had drawn, the Hostess cupcake ads and stuff like that, and the artwork was just so much better than what was in the actual issue. Now, this, again, remember, this is the early 70s, early to mid 70s. I had to go to a grocery store on a spinner rack and look for this guy's artwork, and I found it over in the DC universe, and I was just so enamored with it. It was so incredible. And then I evolved from him to John Byrne, and I believe that John Byrne has probably had the biggest effect on me than anybody, because I loved everything he did. I loved everything he wrote, and absolutely loved Alpha Flight, and everybody else hated it. Yeah, I mean it, and then God, other people, Chris Claremont, what's his name? The guy that created Hellboy. Drawing a blank.
Mike Mignola.
Mike Mignola. Just everybody from Barry Windsor Smith, John Buscema, Ernie Chan. I was big Conan, huge Conan fan growing up. Pablo Marcos did Savage Sword of Conan forever. Tom Palmer was a phenomenal penciler and inker. He inked a lot of John Buscema stuff in the 70s. Marv Wolfman and George Perez on the Titans. Oh my God, that was just comic book gold.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it even goes into like Jack Davis, the advertising cartoonist and stuff like that. I loved his stuff. I loved the looseness of it and just the carefree coloring and all those happy little lines, to quote Bob Ross.
Hey, everyone's got to give respect where it's due. So
Exactly. Yeah, we all love some Bob Ross. Come on now.
absolutely. So a little bit ago, you were talking about peanut pudding and jelly. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Peanut Puddin and Jelly is it's our creator-owned title, our first creator-owned title, and it's a semi-autobiographical story about three siblings that believe that they're actually superheroes. So what they do is they concoct a plan to come up with their costumes. They go out in the neighborhood and they do chores to earn money to go buy those costumes. And when they get the costumes all together, they wait for it to turn dark because that's when all the crime occurs. And then when it's dark, they go out in the neighborhood and they fight the evil and villainy that exists in Dog Alley.
Okay.
And the first bad guys that they confront are Cat Scratch and Fever, which, can you tell, heavily influenced by the 70s.
I'm sensing that a little bit here.
Yeah, they're the neighborhood cat burglars. So the first couple issues they confront these guys, and then we cover bullying in issue 3 with Rattler and the Big Crumb as the neighborhood bullies, and then in issue 4 they go back to their 3-story treehouse and they have a meeting about whether or not capes are a good idea for superheroes to wear, because the bad guys can grab you by them and throw you around, and that's not a good thing.
Right.
So,
I think the Invincibles have also taught us a little bit of a lesson on that.
Exactly.
Or the
yeah,
Incredibles. I keep calling it the Invincibles.
Hey, I meant what you knew. But yeah, and it's the Animaniacs meets Teen Titans. It's silliness. It's not Neil Gaiman and it's not Jim Lee, but it is what it is. It's family friendly. Kids love it, and the funny thing is we get a lot of teachers that buy it and they really love it for their kids.
I was gonna say, this definitely sounds like something that my 7-year-old would love to read.
Oh yeah, that's right. It would be right in her wheelhouse. I would like to get a little darker sometimes, but Tina won't let me. I would like to, because it's autobiographical, and I went through a lot of stuff when I was growing up, and which it influenced the book, and I would like to delve into some of that, but I have to remind myself that it's a kid's book, and well, it's an all ages book, because I don't want to call it a kid's book because that puts it in a niche, and it can be viewed as a kid's book, but I write it for adults as well, kind of like the old Looney Tunes cartoons. When you were a kid and you were watching those, they had all these adult jokes that you didn't know were adult jokes.
Just went right over our heads.
Right, but you laughed anyway, even not getting the significance of it. And so that's how I write Peanut Puddin and Jelly. The kids love it, so it's win-win for us.
Well, good. So you've got another creator-owned title called Pitter Patter, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that one.
It is. It's a cat book because everybody loves cats. And the funny thing is, it's two buddy cats. Actually, one of the cats' names is Buddy. That was kind of a slip up there, but anyway, it's Buddy and Dude. Those are two cats, and it was born out of the book was actually born out of tragedy. Funny story, real quick. We had a kitten. He was part of a litter. We had an outdoor cat that was a mama cat, and every year she would have a litter of cats, and we would take them and we would domesticate them and we would give them to friends and stuff. Well, the very last kitten that she had, we kept, and she met her fate with coyotes along with several other neighborhood outdoor cats.
Oh.
So this kitten was the last kitten, and we named him Shades because he was gray and white, so we named him Shades. And he had so much personality, and he was so much fun. And then he kept wanting to go outside, and we didn't want him to go outside. But one night, Tina didn't realize that he had gotten out when she was closing the screen door on the sun porch. And we woke up the next day and found him in the backyard, and something had got a hold of him. And so we lost him, and it was pretty rough because he was just a baby. And my studio was in the basement of the house, so I would be downstairs, and I was allergic to cats for a long time, but I am no longer allergic to cats, I'm happy to say. So the cats would stay upstairs, and I would, all day long, I would hear him, the pitter-patter of his feet flying back and forth across the hardwood floors, and it would just make me laugh. So we were at a show. We were in Lexington a couple years ago, and some people had some cat stuff, and it was just selling and selling and selling, and this, the Shades being killed and all that stuff, it all just kind of came together. And I created this book because of that, and I named it Pitter Patter. And it's a comedy. Again, it's like, Peanut, Puddin and Jelly. It's kind of written with adult humor. It's real cute, fun artwork. Mm-hmm. It's the first issue, and I'm really excited because I can't wait to see it.
Okay, awesome. That sounds like another good one you guys have lined up. So, you guys have that coming out at Tricon. Is there anything else special you guys are doing for Tricon?
Yeah, actually, we've got a couple of things. We have a variant cover for issue 5 of Peanut, Puddin and Jelly. Well, we've messed with the colors on the cover a little bit, so that is going to be available. We only have X amount of copies of that, so you get a chance to get to the booth and get a copy before they're gone. That would be in your best interest because there's a very small amount of those. I don't know if I'm allowed to say how many there are, but it's under 100.
Oh, wow.
I can say that. And then we also have what we call the swag bag deal, where we have collected the first 4 issues of Peanut, Puddin and Jelly into a trade. And if you buy the trade, it comes with a bunch of trading cards and a sticker. And if you buy that for $20, you get issue 5 for free. So you get all that is Peanut, Puddin and Jelly that up to date for $20.
Awesome. That's a pretty killer deal.
And the good thing about it is on the inside of the trade, there is a sketch page, and I will do you a head sketch of one of the kids from the book if you buy the whole shebang for $20.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so you get awesome original artwork as well. Yes.
Well, Rodney, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up, let everyone know about?
I'm a frustrated Reds fan.
I'm right there with you.
As far as Peanut, Puddin and Jelly goes, we are working on issue 6. I am actually sitting here coloring it right now. It's called Slope Slop. It's our introduction to the kids and their sugary drinks that they love to drink.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Can you say sugar coma? Then I just wanted to mention that I will be doing commissions at the show. So if you would like a commission, feel free to stop by, and they range from prices from anything to a whole bunch, depending on what you want. I've done commissions there every year that I've been there, and it's been pretty good. So if you want a commission, stop by. I am on the poster again this year. So when you guys get those, when you get into the door, come in and I'll sign it for you, and make sure to get on the commission list before it fills up. And I think that's it. Oh, I do want to give a shout out to Jeremy Scarecrow Orion. He is the penciler for issue 5 of Peanut, Puddin and Jelly and issue 6. I don't know if he will be able to make it to the show this year. He's got some family situations that he's dealing with right now. So if he is not going to be able to make it, I just want to give him a shout out, let him know that we love him and we're thinking of him. So
good deal.
I wanted to mention that as well. Give my boy some props.
Absolutely. Real quick, can you tell everyone where they can find you and some of your art and all that, like a website, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that?
Yes, we have the art of Rodney Fyke on Facebook. I am also on Instagram at Rodney_Fyke. Hazzum, HAZZUM.com is our website. It's a launch page. Hazzum is the name of our company. So we got some stuff there. And where else? I'm on Twitter, Rodney Fyke at Twitter. Yeah, and I think that's it.
So everyone, you can find Rodney Fyke again June 2nd at Tricon. Once again, that's in Huntington, West Virginia at the Big Sandy Superstore Arena. Tickets are only $10 for adults. Kids 10 and under get in free.
Yeah, it's a great show, so make sure you come out and check everybody out.
Absolutely. Rodney, thank you again for taking the time with me today, and I can't wait to see you at the show.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to probably met you before, but
I feel like I
look forward
probably
to-
have stopped by your booth a couple of times before in the past years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we will make it official this year and acknowledge each other with a hug and a wink and a handshake.
Absolutely. And no one will know
All right,
what
buddy.
the wink means.
Exactly. That's the best part.
You, sir, have a good evening.
All right, buddy. You do the same. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.